go. Alrighty, so let's just close our eyes and, whoops, I gotta watch the, Sarah, are you familiar with Zoom?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. If I made you a co-host, would you admit people for me as they're coming
Yes.
in? Okay,
Sure.
great. Thank you. Let's see. Where are you? There you are. Whoops, you just moved. Sarah. There you go. Okay. Thank you. So they'll just kind of pop up on the screen and you just hit admit. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Kristen. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Jan. I'll be on video in just a moment when I switch over to my new laptop.
Okay, sounds great. And then I've got somebody on iPhone. I don't have a name. Hello. Oh, it's Whitney. Hi, Whitney.
Hi.
Nice to have you.
Thanks. Thank you so much. And I'm also working on my video.
Oh, okay, sounds good. Sounds good. We're just getting ready to do an invocation. So we'll go ahead and do that. Oh, so let's close our eyes and take some nice deep breaths. Bringing the air in past our lungs and past our diaphragms, way down deep into our tummy. And let's say thank you for this air, this breath. It's actually the first spirit that you meet when you're born. It says hello to you and welcome to the world. And so we say hello to the air, to the breath that fills us and invigorates us, fortifies us, keeps us alive and functioning. And we welcome it into our bodies in the fullness of breath. And we ask for any of our presence that's been probably all over the place as we get ready for Zooms. We're thinking about all kinds of different things. If that presence will just come back in and we find ourselves completely present to what we're doing. We're here. We all can move into appreciation that we have these amazing contraptions that we call devices and computers that allow us to connect around the world, around the globe. And it's just amazing. And we're so appreciative of that. We have greater communication now than we've ever had. And so just fill in with that appreciation for a moment. And feel yourself getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And maybe you're thinking of other things that you appreciate. Some of you are really appreciating the rain, which is great, or maybe you have sunshine. Whatever that is, just feel the levels of appreciation. The appreciation of love in your life. And again, the ability to connect, because that is such a big deal. And you can kind of go through the list of things that you appreciate. But whatever that is, just allow yourself to feel it instead of just thinking it. And as you do that, your body might start to respond. As you feel your broadcast or your energy just going up. And again, you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And more full and more full and more full. And we send love out. We send it to each other. That we're saying hello and feeling each other's hearts. And we ask for great articulation today in depth. That we can be of service to each other. And be of service to humanity. as we check in and as we make a difference, as we care. For it's about caring. It's about loving. It's about showing up. And so with this, we ask all of the helping guides, the spirits, all of those that connect with us on all different kinds of levels, named and unnamed, known and unknown, that there's a greater force that surrounds us that is benevolent and loving. And we tap into that. We ask for sustenance and vitality and fortification, and that we're guided by you throughout our day, but especially during this hour that we have together. So we stand together believing and loving, and I thank you, great ones. I thank you, blessed ones. Aho matakuyasan, plamie, amalo, aho. So those of you that I didn't get to say hello to, I want to do that now, just saying hi. And as I asked earlier, before we started the invocation, I'm a little altered right now, sorry. Before we started the invocation, what's on your hearts? Where are the things, and what are the things that you wish to talk about today that seems important to you? Now, like I said, I got a couple things in the pre this, people that submitted questions, but I'd rather address those right now and then get to those other ones a little bit later if we have time. So, what's on your heart? What do you want to talk about? Anybody? Jeannie? Okay.
Yeah, this is something that's been weighing on my heart for a long time now, and I focus on it a lot, and that is how to stay heart, soul centered during these times, and to not get caught up in the barrage of just horrible information, and really staying centered, staying in my heart. So anyway, if we could spend a little bit of time on that, Jan, I would love that.
I think that is a really common question right now. And the answer is always the same, no matter what it is. And what I'm going to preface this with is I think many of you know that my husband passed away this year, and it's been very, very difficult, kind of in the role that I have and the different things that I do, and also dealing with this loss. And I was asking the spirits the other day, I was like, how can you help me? Like, just how can you help? What should I do? What should I know? And they said, love everything. Just love everything. And, that means his death also. And I started thinking about that, and I remembered a girlfriend of mine has cancer, or had cancer, I should say. And she's a pretty evolved being. She practices Buddhism. But she was struggling with this. She wanted it. She wanted to be in remission, and of course. And we did a session together. And the spirit said, "You have to love the cancer. You have to love it." And we talked about that and what that meant. And because when you reach certain areas in your spiritual growth, you understand that it's the process of love that actually brings energies up into their greater expression. That everything has a great expression. Everything is part of love. But some of these lower frequencies that we deal with, as far as death and as far as cancer and as far as some very awful behaviors, they also can evolve, and they also can express themselves in a better way. And the way that they need to do that is very much like I just did in the invocation, where I said, you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And how many people felt that happen when I was saying that they were actually expanding? Okay? That expansion, when you send it to a thing, like a behavior, a situation, actually makes it also expand into its greater version. And all of our greater versions are love. And so, again, my friend that I was working with started doing that in her meditations. And I got a text from her, and I check in with her pretty regularly, but she said, my last appointment, I'm cancer free. It's gone, you know. And I was just like, wow, you know, when you can do that, when you can really embody those feelings towards something else that you're in major resistance to, it shifts it. And that is the story that I have sort of used as a foundational story now for LightSong, which is the school in the center that I have, which is the story from Peru, which I'm sure you've heard it, Jeannie. And I will repeat it here for people that haven't heard it. But this is a true story, a story that took place down in Machu Picchu. And Machu Picchu is a sacred site in Peru. And they had fires there. They had very bad fires, and the fires had the potential of really doing some destructive damage to the sacred site. So the council that runs the area decided to call in shamans to put out the fires, which I always say it's one of my favorite parts of the story, that a council would choose to do that. You know, let's bring in the shamans instead of the fire people, you know, the fire marshals. But anyway, they brought in these shamans, and several of them, all of them but one, started going out and working the way that shamans do, drumming, singing, working with the elements, journeying, all the various things that they need to do to do their ceremonies. Except for one of the shamans, and this woman decided to go into a little hut that is called, I call it a wickiup, that's what they call it in Lakota. I don't know what the Spanish word is for it. But it's a little prayer hut that you create that's made out of, branches of a tree or something like that. And then you cover it with blankets, so it's very dark and private, and you go in there and you pray. And so in about in a day and a half, the fires went out. And the other shamans knew that it wasn't what they were doing with their ceremonies and such. It was something that she had done. And they said, how did you do it? How did you put out the fires? And she said, I found where I was out of alignment within myself. And when I brought that into alignment, the external world changed. and the fires went out. And so the philosophy has been in many, many, many cultures around the world, not just in shamanism, that your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. Now, that doesn't mean that you have fires inside of you, but it means that there's a resistance there that you're feeding energy to that then creates a worse situation in the outside world, the way that it works energetically. Because, Jeannie, as you're feeling these feelings of possibly being distraught or angry or disturbed, that is actually going somewhere. Those feelings go somewhere and they do something. And I always call it feeding the side that you don't want to feed. You know, there's just two energies in the world. It's actually a binary system. There's what we would call, they're not really positive or negative, but we'll use those terms, positive or negative. And so if you're in distraught and anger, you're feeding the negative side. And that whatever gets the most energy wins. That's one of the laws of energy. And so you have to be thinking, what side am I feeding with this? And so another way of saying it, going back to the other stories that I was using, when you're in resistance to cancer, or when you're in resistance to a death, or the way that your life has changed or something like that, you're actually feeding the side. Somebody's got their microphone on that has got some background noise. If you wouldn't mind just turning it off for a minute, that'd be great. That resistance is actually feeding the side of more turmoil, of more resistance, of more difficulty. So am I making sense? Anybody? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Jeannie, what do you want to say about that? Do you want to have a dialogue with that?
Well, I think you're right on. And sometimes there are some days, Jan, that it feels like I'm journeying and meditating all day, just to stay out of that fray. And while that's not a bad thing, there are other things that I want to do during a day.
Sure. Do
But
you listen to the news, Jeannie?
I do. I'm very selective on that. But I do listen to it because I don't want to stick my head in the ground and not know what's going on. But it's also very disturbing, as you probably know. So trying to find a balance where I'm not feeling disturbed by something or even angry, and then I'm feeding that, and I get that 100%. So it's really wanting to stay informed, but also wanting to stay out of that low energy.
Yeah. They have sites that will rate the information quality, like that you're getting through news. And NPR rates really high on that, National Public Radio. But anyway, yeah, I would either take a break from it and just be informed through your intuition, and or when you're doing just mundane tasks around the house, just be saying your high frequency words. You don't have to formally journey or formally meditate, but it's what you're saying inside your head and what you're feeling then that is going to affect your health as well as your broadcast to the world. And you can, I have a little behavior that I have this habit, which is a good habit, that as soon as I get into the car and pull out, I start saying high frequency words, and I just try to say them from the time I leave to wherever I'm getting. It's just my time of really getting big like that. And it's amazing how it affects wherever I'm going and the traffic on this. I mean, people say, God, when I ride with you, Jan, it's like the Red Seas part or something with the traffic, And I was like, yeah, it's just this, I'm just putting out this energy that the outside world immediately responds to. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Anybody want to jump on that conversation or have another question? Oh, come on, you guys. Don't leave it all up to me. Jackie, how about you?
Okay, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Regarding news and the world and all that, I feel like my interaction with the world that I live in is, the people that I know, and probably branches out from that, right? Um, I I can't change what's going to happen politically by listening to what the news tells me today. Um, I want to be informed, and so I kind of know my people to hear, well, so what happened today? I kind of like just pay attention to what people are talking about to see if there's anything that I feel like you said, listen to your intuition, that I feel like I need to pay attention to. There's always threats being made to our human rights, but I feel like what you say, Jan, about the positive energy is like so much more important. Like for my balance, and for me to be the best that I can be in all my situations, I need to be positive, focusing on the positive, appreciating the wonderful qualities of the people around me, appreciating even my own ability to be positive in a particular concern today, like that's the stuff that really, really touches me. And that's where I want my energy to be. So as you were talking, we had something happen this last week, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it, but I was thinking to myself, wow, we could meditate, or I'm sorry, journey, whatever it is we do when we send
Whatever we do.
whatever it is we do when we're on that energy highway and we're sending it out intentionally. We could send this positive energy to our politicians, like whoever it is that you want to do. And that could be our news for the day. That would be so cool if we could do that,
If just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I think about politics. But
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to do instead of slamming them and being them, because when you're doing that, there's a part of you that's holding that aggravation and that slam, and that sometimes people will be hatred towards people. I've had people say that they wish they would die. Like, seriously, this is affecting you to the point where you would say something like that, and it's just, I think when you hear things like that, it's gone way too far, where you're not holding your own integrity and your own value of life. You're projecting this other thing out on folks, and so you have to realize that that's coming out, and that would be an energy that's inside of you that can be very harmful to yourself. It can not only harm you physically, but it can harm you mentally and emotionally. You can become affected by that level of hatred, actually, is what it is. Yeah. Dimitri? Yeah.
I'd like to make a suggestion.
Sure.
Yes, I stopped watching regular news and TV long time ago because of the way it affects me. Long time ago. I don't watch regular mainstream news. I do go to YouTube, though. There are a lot of channels there that are very authentic and honest, and it's easier to discern between, because on the mainstream news, if we're watching on TV, we only getting one a week. There's nothing to discern between. But if you go to YouTube and you go searching, there's all kinds of news outlets there and people reporting the truth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Jan? You're on mute, hon.
Okay. I know that as an example, something happened recently. I have my 91-year-old mother living with me, and she incessantly has the news on. I have to, like, I can't tell you what it does to me because I can't function, but in processing it, I wanted to, like, just pray or invite that, not to wish harm, because sometimes there are things that are happening that I can't process why somebody would do what they're doing. So I just would wish that the truth be seen, and so that the majority of people can stay well. And I also, this is kind of a twofold thing that I want to say. I was watching something, I watch a lot of Gaia TV, and I do also, Dimitri, pick up on YouTube. And sometimes when I want to get some of the news, I will watch a comedian, because if I can't have some comic relief from it, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking, it was something, the ninth wave of where we are in the world. And, we're doing really good. I keep focusing that we're really doing good. Like 1,000 years ago, activity for the evening would be watching people be eaten by animals and slaughtered. So, and even in poverty levels, they have more than what they did. So I keep focusing on that. And the other thing that I gleaned from, because I think somebody else mentioned this, like I've been on this path for a while, and I try to get my information from different people and different sources. And then I kind of try to find the thread that they're all saying. And I think I just lost my train of thought, but, and you have said, I know, Jan, you have said, and I've heard it before, that one person can change the world. And I think often about that woman in the little hut. And I find, looking inside myself, where am I out of alignment? Mm-hmm. And what is it I'm missing? Because, the other thing that I lost was that the world is exposing, and it's either you choose in this new world that we're going into, which is never ever going to go back or be the same, what's in it for me, or what can I do to help?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's exactly correct. I think all of us that are sitting here probably have that as part of our inner cosmology of, what can I do to help? We're all service-oriented type of folks, which can be in different expressions. But I did a meditation many years ago. And in the meditation, the spirits said to me, they said, every person born has full capacity to save the world, or to change the world single-handedly. And when they said it, I was kind of baffled, because I was thinking of, things that they would have to do, as far as, are you going to be an activist on the front line? Are you going to have a teaching that goes out, and then you have to have, have a certain level of fame to be able to have access to that kind of people. And I'm thinking all this kind of stuff, and how does that work, that every person born has the capacity to change the world single-handedly? And so I really sat with that. And I realized that the reason that was true and why they said it was because we all feel. We all contribute through our broadcast. And just as I said just a few minutes ago, that broadcast, whatever that is, that energy that's coming off of us, is going to go in, let's say, one sector or the other. It's going to go to the positive feed, or it's going to go to the negative feed. And it all goes someplace. And And so, as we're feeling, as we are expressing ourselves in these feelings, and they have done lots of studies, these are actually qualified in science, that, the universe is made, it responds to feeling. That's how it actually responds. And it's not necessarily thought, which was one of the earlier kind of concepts, but no, it's feeling. And so whatever we're feeling is going someplace and contributing. And so that's how a person can change things. Just like you just said, Jan, the person sitting in the hut can change the fires. My girlfriend can change her cancer diagnoses. It's all through feeling. And we want to pay attention to that because we're contributing 24/7. And I think being of service, I always tell my students, that a lot of shamanism, a lot of energy medicine is behind the scenes. It's not what you're doing on the outside and out there in the public or in ceremony, but it's doing what you're feeling on the inside, where your prayers are, what you're contributing to. And that is the real big shifts in the world. And Jan, just to make an announcement, I got invited to Gaia again.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it won't be till next year, but yeah.
well,
So
that'll be quick. But I also, from my understanding about I know all the new awarenesses about between the brain and the heart is magnetic, so it can pull to you. So I've been trying to use that more wisely, and the brain is more electric, so it's a tool. It's like your computer, but all the power is here.
yeah,
I,
your heart actually puts out, I think, 10,000 times more power than your brain does.
you can live brain dead, you cannot live heart dead.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
If I may, I'd like to share an experience I had, and it was a dream last night.
Okay.
Because I'm really working between, I kind of have a house full, people get sick, we don't know what we're doing, it's New York, but trying to get some kind of guidance. And are you familiar with Alberto Velo? Yeah. So he was in my dream. He comes in, and it was a dream, so I'm not going to even try to decipher all the things that were happening and the different people, but it made me aware of, I want to help. I've always wanted to, and I'm able to know things when it comes to somebody else much better than myself. And it was an awareness that sometimes I do it because I want to feel good, and that sometimes I get too concerned. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, about how I appear more than solving the issue at hand and helping the other people. So I feel like I'm grateful that, I got that, because I don't think I was wondering why some things weren't working, and I pray going forward that I'm able to be wiser about it.
Great.
And it was just last night, so.
Nice. It was a very informative experience for you then that touched you. That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
Anybody else like to speak on anything? Yeah, Marcia?
I think on this topic of being able to send your positive energy out, and Jackie and I were driving about a week ago, and for those of you who live in Portland, we were coming from downtown and going up through the Terwilliger curves, and up ahead was a bunch of emergency vehicles and things, and so we were curious what's going on. And at one point on the road, you can look to the right, and there's Barber Boulevard, and there's a very tall bridge right there. And I couldn't see, but Jackie saw that someone was there on the bridge about to jump. And so immediately both of us had this huge hit of, all this energy, this, of, just feeling so
Compassionate? Is that what you mean?
compassionate, also that energy of being desperate.
Oh,
you know,
desperate. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
us. And so we had been listening a lot to you, Jan, and immediately Jackie said, let's send that person some positive energy. Let's do some high vibrational words for them. Let's send this out to them and let them know. So we just immediately, I'm driving, so I couldn't quite concentrate as much as Jackie, but we just immediately started saying, you're worthy of love. You matter in this world. There's always another choice, and also sending it to the emergency people, because here they are trying to help this person. And it felt so good to us. Like, we immediately, instead of sitting with that depression energy, we changed it and sent out this positive energy. And we don't know, of course, if that helped that person, but it certainly helped us.
Mm-hmm.
And we can only imagine that hopefully they felt something as well, all of the people involved in that. And I think that happens a lot with all the news, right? Like, it's just coming in, it's just like bombarding us, and we can either let that attach to us or change it and just do something different. Just like you're always saying, just change those words and say the good things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's powerful and effective, just very effective. I had somebody in class one time that came upon a person that was going to commit suicide, and they smiled at him, and the person didn't. It was just like, I one of my sayings that I say about people is behavior, all behavior, no matter how horrible it is all a call to love. Everybody needs to be loved. Everybody wants to be loved on some level, but some people have just gotten so hurt, so dramatically hurt, or have such greed inside of them, whatever, that gets all covered up. But when you can respond through some sort of gesture of like in this case, a smile, or you sending, that energy is felt by the person, because that's exactly what they need. They need. And I believe that the soul, our divine essence, is actually made out of this love. And when you give it, there's a positive response to it. Now, it might not be immediate, like in some people's cases, but it's a win-win situation because of what you were saying, Marcia. You don't know if it happened, but you felt better. You weren't taken down by it, which is exactly right. When you've got somebody that's really acting out and then you get all upset, now we've got two people in distress instead of one person actually doing something outside of the the given energy that's presenting. You're actually conforming it. One of the things that you want to remember too, if this is actually back from your science classes when you were in junior high, but energy is not created or destroyed. It just changes form. So no matter how, like in fact, like the greater, let's say, a negative thing, you have access to a lot of energy there that you can transmute. And so it's not that it can take you out. No, you energy is not created. It just changes form almost immediately through intention. At least for yourself. Again, that inner world is what's regulating the outer world. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to talk about? Yes, Michelle.
A little bit of a kind of a side road.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it reminded me when Jan mentioned her dream.
Mm-hmm.
And last night I happened to I was dreaming crazy, like it was wild. And I don't normally maybe remember my dreams that much.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually, the first one was actually like quite more like a nightmare. But then there was like, it was almost like lucid, where I knew where I was and I could kind of figure out that I was dreaming, but if I closed my eyes, I'd go right back into that dream. So it was really bizarre. I was just wondering what your thoughts are. I kept thinking maybe I should write all of this down, because there, you know, there's signs or there's symbols or there was something going on, but it was kind of violent. And I was wondering if you have any, you know, intuition on what happens in dreams compared to, because it's another realm. And then is it a release, or is it, you know, a warning, or is it, you know, that's where I'm always like, I'm not sure how to interpret.
Sure, that's a really great question. And I could teach for days on this, but I'm going to give you a short answer for sure. In shamanism, there is no such thing as a nightmare or a difficult thing. And let me explain how that's viewed. It's in our culture, since we're such a left brain dominant culture, we take something of the right brain, which is a dream. It's in an otherworldly type of experience that our right brain has the ability to process. And then we try to define it in left brain terms. And so there is no such thing as analysis or figuring out a dream in shamanism. All right. But what you look at are feelings. And they're all about power or empowerment, broadcasting, you know, where are you in your expression in the world. So when things are seeming like they are nightmarish, or you're caught, or you're being chased or whatever, in a shamanic viewpoint, when you come out of that dream and you're upset, let's say, you know, you're like, your heart's going fast and you're really upset, you're already processing in your left brain at that point, okay, because you're now awake. But they would say, go back into the dream and empower yourself, you know, put on your superwoman suit and say, no, this isn't going to happen. This is how I'm going to work with this energy. This is what I'm going to do. Because, you know, in a shamanic viewpoint, our dreams are a reflection, again, of empowerment. It's all about power. It's self-power. I'm not talking about egoic power. I'm talking about how oppressed you might feel energetically. And so when we feel powerless in our everyday life, we'll often take that into the right brain, and the right brain is showing you that through nightmares or through difficulty, you know. And so when you come out of that dream, again, you want to go back into it and take that power back. So you're left with a feeling of empowerment. And the more you do that in your dreaming state, when you come out of dreams, making it a practice, looking at your dreams, making a decision, how do I feel? Again, it's all about feeling, you know, how do I feel? Making a change. What will happen, and this is where I am with my dreams right now, because when I can feel that happening in a dream, you can actually see me. I don't know if you can see me. Sometimes I'll have my hands on my hips like, no, we're not doing it this way, you know. And I've learned how to just move into that place while I'm dreaming. I don't even have to come out of it anymore. Yeah, does that make sense and how that works?
Yeah, I totally love that, because I know I could have done that last night. You know, like I said, I felt like it was kind of lucid. So then I came out of it thinking, no, just open your eyes, it'll go away, and then you're going to go back to sleep and it'll be fine. And every time I closed my eyes, I was right back in it. And the scene would change just slightly. So it was like some weird avatar thing where just because I had opened my eyes and found reality in my left brain, went back in, it was still kind of the same concept of what was going on, but like a different scene or a different person showed up. And so then I could have totally been into that last night and been like, nope,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's been kind of fun because I wasn't freaked out. That's the weird part. It was scary. It was dangerous, but there was something in me that knew that I wasn't in it. I was like the observer while being in it.
Mm-hmm. And that is an indication of our multi or omnipresence, I would say. You know, in shamanism, we don't see things as linear. You wouldn't say, well, this was another life, like a past life or something like that. There's an omnipresence of you that you can not only be in multiple lifetimes at the same time, but also multiple awarenesses of yourself. Like you can see yourself doing something and you can feel it at the same time, and there, you know, as a witness. And so there's all this omnipresence that really shows up in dreams as well as in journeying. Of course, journeying, you always have an omnipresence about yourself also that we can have in this state. Of course, you can witness yourself doing something and go, oh, why am I doing that? Well, who is that saying that? You know, if you were just one if you were just one being, you wouldn't have the ability to even have that question. You know, and so it's constantly showing that there's a greaterness of you than what most people tend to focus on in their lives. They feel like they're kind of trapped in this oneness, and you're really not. If you guys would give me just a second, I don't have anybody reading my chats to me, so I need to read these and see if I am in answering folks. Okay, yeah. So somebody was asking for a list of high frequency words, and I think that that would be really fun to all do together right now. And you know what? So for me, high frequency words are words that are feeding to the soul. We would call them positive words or empowering words, but they actually affect you in an extremely positive way. So often in class, what we do to even monitor a container that we're working in, making the container safe, making the container healthy, and where we're going to have exceptional experiences in the container, we feed the container high frequency words. And so we can feed this container on virtual connections through Zoom, high frequency words. And so those of you that know this, you can pipe in right away, but you'll have to take off your mic, you know, unmute yourself. And it will sound kind of chaotic because we'll all be talking at the same time. But what we're going to say is these really high frequency words or positive words to each other. And just notice what happens then to your body when you're doing this. So we'll start off. Go ahead and start. So stellar.
Laughter.
Beautiful.
Community.
Sure.
Holding hands.
Fantastic. Brilliance.
Chocolate.
Joy, laughter,
Clouds.
Sensational.
Beauty.
Empowerment.
Friendship. Gratitude. Hugs.
Extraordinary.
Fulfillment.
Love. Magnificence.
Cosmic.
Happiness.
Gracious.
Glowing.
Like,
Fulfillment.
Wondrous.
Right.
Fulfillment.
Abundance. Dancing.
love, love.
Health.
Laughter.
Eagle. Magic.
Grace.
Vibrance.
Fun.
Fun. Yes, that's what we're
Cherished. Beloved.
gratitude.
Appreciation.
Yay.
Divine.
Divine.
Floating.
Stellar. How's that feel in your body?
Yummy.
Good.
Super.
Yeah. Just kind of makes you go like this. Matthew, you just started glowing. Your face got radiant. You started smiling. Yeah. And so, that is a practice that you can do anytime, anywhere, and it's always effective on some level. It's always effective. And it's so simple just to say these words. So that was wonderful. That just made me I got goosebumps a couple times. So, yeah, wonderful. We probably have time for one more question if anybody would like to ask.
I would like to ask a question.
Okay, Matthew, great.
If you would like to, well, it's two questions really. One is I would like to hear any commentary that you have about the upcoming solstice, what to expect. And I would also like to ask you about, from what I've read of your work so far, I understand that this is the middle world and that I might be encountering some other people in my dreams who are also of the middle world. And I guess sometimes when I have a dream, I will be asked to assist someone. And I was just wondering, what's that all about? I guess.
What's that all about? I know, I get that all the time. You came in my dream last night. And I said, I work so hard when I'm sleeping. No one. No, but yeah, again, we're this omnipresent being, and there's parts of our existence that is very active when the left brain turns off and you have access to the different realms more easily. You're navigating through them very easily. But I think that when you have a heart that is of service, that lots of times we can be very, very assisting when we're not limited with our physicality. And in your dreams, you're not limited to your physical body. It's your essence that is definitely more present. And so, is that what you mean, Matthew? I'm not quite sure if I answered that well for you.
More specifically, I sometimes have dreams in which a deceased person will come and ask me for something.
Sure.
Most of the time I tell them that their grievances or their request can't be fulfilled by me, but that they should just go to the light. And
okay.
It's not anything I can control. They just happen randomly. And I was just wondering, in this year particularly, is there anything that I can do to be of more assistance, I guess, or be more available?
Well, in that realm you're talking about with the souls that are contacting you?
Yeah.
Well, in shamanism, there's this very, fine line between being physical and being active in the spiritual realm. And so we do a lot of work with souls that have passed over that haven't so-called gotten to the light. It's interesting because when I started this this talking stick, that was one of the questions that somebody had asked, like, is it good, is it helpful to take souls over to the light? Does that affect their next incarnation? And were you the person that asked that question? Did you submit it, or was that just a coincidence? Okay, it's a coincidence that it came up. Okay. We come out of a belief system in our culture that there isn't a really good belief system around how to die, okay? Like how to die in a good way, so to speak. And what happens after you die. All right, we have a very big hodgepodge of what people will believe. And if that belief system is undefined, that can cause the soul to be confused after it comes out of the body. Because just as we create our life by our belief systems are in control of what we're creating all the time. Our belief systems go with us after you leave the body for a certain extent. Your consciousness is there, and they create the reality then that you're going to move into that next expression of yourself, which is without a body. And that is the majority of your expression. I mean, you're only in a body for a flash of time. It's a very small amount of time. So there's several souls that we would call that are wandering. They're discarnates that have lost their body and they're confused. They don't know what to do and where to go. And so instead of saying, well, you need to go to the light, what a shaman would do would say, let me assist you to the light. Or where is it that you want to go? I mean, not every belief system believes that it's going to be the light. They have different names for it, different cosmologies. So you would ask that being, where do you need to go or where do you want to go? And then you would assist them. You would take them there so that they have that sort of that assistance or that guardian that is going to escort where they need to be. Because like I said, not everybody knows, especially if you die violently or quickly, where you're just kind of discombobulated after you come out of the body and you're just like, whoa, what just happened, and you don't have a really strong belief system of what's going to happen. There can be a lot of confusion, which we find in this country quite a bit. So to be of service is say, let me help you. And I don't know if you work with allies, if you work with beings that assist you, but they would then be who you would call upon in the dream. Let's go together, and go to the other side. So does that help?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And there's a strong belief then that the more complete you are, the more that you've let go of attachments, and the more you've come to terms with things in this expression, then your soul then is free to evolve to the next level, versus if you have a lot of attachments and or you've really kind of messed up in this lifetime where you might need to kind of repeat something that to get a better grasp of what love would do. It's all about love. It always boils down to love. It's all about love. And, what would love do in that situation? So, and that's what we're expected for ourselves. And this is my belief system. And I've worked with this a long time. Just to qualify, I've done over 3,500 soul retrievals, which is working intimately with the process of the soul and how it heals and how it should be maintained in life to keep yourself really healthy. So I hope that answered you well. Good job. Keep up the good work when you're sleeping. Yeah, Dimitri. Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question before we close. It sounds like you're getting ready to close.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get off the subject of our dreams and stuff, but I love it. And my question it revolves around changing the world. I have an opportunity to make big changes at my college I'm at. They've put me in a situation where we're in confrontation. I guess they don't like the package of the messages coming in, and I don't know who to turn to. And I was wondering if I needed some kind of counsel or help or advice. Could I turn to LightSong or somebody at LightSong?
Yeah, I would think so. I would contact one of the teachers, and yeah, Karen Hefner is definitely a spiritual coach, and
What's her name again?
I'm sorry,
What's her name again? Karen
Hefner.
Hefner.
She's usually on these calls with me, um, but yeah, she does a lot of coaching. But I would think
Yeah, how would I contact her?
just send a note to the office at info@lightsong.net.
Info. Okay, thank you, Jan.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hmm. I am delighted with our conversations today. Want you to I want you to support each other energetically and know that myself and Light Song are really here for you. We did have a very difficult experience this last week. One of our teachers passed away unexpectedly, Pearl Pierce, and we will, as a community, be doing something to celebrate her life and to do some of the ceremonies that I was just speaking of with Matthew to celebrate her crossing over, although I think she was probably there before she even left her body. She was such an amazing being, otherworldly being, really. She was incredible. The council will be getting together on Monday to plan something, so you'll all get notices if you get the newsletter or on Facebook. That is my main way of communicating with everybody. That's, I have to have a method to reach people, and so hopefully you're signed up for those things because that's my way of reaching out and getting information to you. But I plan on doing these talking sticks monthly, and so if you have questions that you want to submit, and my goal, my intention is that they're of service to you somehow, that you leave this feeling better than when before you came, and that it inspires you to, open that heart and to feel that love, and it improves your life on some level, which I know will then have a ripple effect out into the world. So anyway, thank you all for this time that we're sharing. Mwah.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My
Everyone.
pleasure.
Have a great
Thank
Saturday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye. Leslie, I see that you just came in. We just finished. I'm sorry that